Well, welcome to the first episode of BXed. We're going to be talking about numerous things, all that affect the Bronx. This is Maria Chang. This is Joshua Ponte.
Hello.
And I guess we should just start off the discussion with the biggest topic right now is gentrification and what it means, and is it a good term, is it a bad term, should we be worried? So I'll let Josh explain the party that happened in the South Bronx recently.
Okay. We had a party back in November that took place right under the 3rd Avenue Bridge. Themed Bronx is Burning. And this party brought all types of superstars like Adrian Brody, Kylie Jenner, like all types of
Kendall Jenner,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So all those A-list celebrities.
Gigi Hadid.
Yeah, Gigi Hadid, that's right.
Yeah.
So they came by, they had tons of fun. Cars with riddled bullet holes and
Burning cars, didn't they burn?
yes, and trash cans on fire, and tons of people
cool.
not from the area. The company was Somerset, right?
Yeah.
And the owner is Keith Rubenstein.
Mm-hmm.
He is a well-known entrepreneur, and I guess you can call him a smart man. He's worth
a lot of money.
Yeah, he definitely is. He was scoping out the South Bronx, and he's the one really bringing a lot of attention to the area.
So what happened was that he threw that party,
Mm-hmm.
and then he put up also a sign
Oh,
that
Lord.
Announced it as the Piano District. And the history is that it was a piano district at a time,
Yes.
like back in the day, like all the.
Which I gotta give him credit, at least he's staying to
Right, it's history. He's into
because
history.
you have them trying to rename Riverdale as Normal, Northern Manhattan. Where's the history in Normal?
There's no- right,
There is
right.
no
So-
history
there's
in
not
that
even
name.
Manhattan.
So,
So-
yeah, and it's not even Manhattan.
Kudos
so.
to them for trying to like keep it to
history in the
right?
name.
I do agree, and like I have to say that at least he, I guess it was well thought out, because at one point it was.
Well, some people would say he didn't think it out because
I
he
think
got
he
really
didn't
bad
think the party.
backlash.
I don't think he thought that
right,
party,
the party
out
was
well.
really bad.
The name he thought out well because he looked for history. He looked for it to fit that area.
I think the backlash comes more from someone, and now is he a Bronxite?
I don't, you know what? I told you earlier I googled him and he's worth a lot of money, but I was trying to actually find out like where he grew up, and it didn't give me any of that information.
I think
I guess it has to be Facebook friends.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest issue pretty much is not the fact that it was renamed that, because I can bet that if that was renamed by the people of the South Bronx or the people of the Bronx, if someone from the Bronx started referring to it as the Piano District, I think it'd be a little bit better received. But when it's someone who people feel is the outsider trying to bring everyone in, and this is just the image that the person may have, they're saying, hey, who the hell is this guy? Why is he renaming our
yeah, who did it
our
just come
section?
in and take over?
Like, we call this as well.
Well, he apologized because he got a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
And this is what he said. Because I read it's the DNA info. I think that's the website they use.
Info, yeah.
And this is what was his apology was. After hearing some of people's descriptions of it and listening to what their reaction to it was, I can understand how they could infer that it was rebranding the neighborhood when in fact it was not. Do you buy that? Do you think he was not trying to rename it? He's like, oh, I wasn't trying to rename it, but
If you look at the sign, South Bronx is like this big, and then Piano District was this big.
it did even mention South.
Yeah, it said South Bronx, literally, right next to the piano district. It was like this big. And then you see piano
And then it had like a
district.
piano
so
image in
in
the
my
back.
image, and the way I perceived it was South Bronx, now piano district.
And it's now we are renamed. We're changing the name.
Was it
That's
in
how I
quotation marks?
perceived it.
What was in quotation marks?
Piano District.
I don't
recall
know.
that. I just remember that South Bronx was like this big, and then the piano district was like this big, and that's the way I perceived it.
To me, he was trying to rename it. I think now he's
that's
trying to
how
like say, "Oh, that
well,
wasn't the
you
intention."
can't sell real estate
But
at
he's a real estate
high
agent.
prices, if you say you buy real estate for $500,000 or $1 million because they're luxury condos. So $500,000, I've seen apartments in the Bronx and houses in the Bronx for $500,000 that are run down. So these luxury condos are definitely probably going for millions.
Yeah, right. So he has to create something new.
Yes, for
So
the
you get people,
newcomers
yeah,
to perceive it as
something new.
Yes, that they're willing to spend.
The apartments that are going to go up in that building in the South Bronx is the minimum from what I know is 3,000.
Oh my lord.
So I'm like, who are they bringing into who's gonna?
That's just,
I can't afford.
Me?
I don't even think I make $1,000 a month.
I would say probably. I don't know the number. I'm not saying that this is the
So these
number.
people are gonna make at least 10,000.
90% of the Bronx would not be able to afford it.
No.
it's the majority, yeah. Well,
This is 3 out of 3 can't afford it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, who wants to pay that much?
People that have that money.
Well, it's also because they're on the waterfront. That's like the luxury. That's like the
I mean, unless they have a freaking boat that takes you straight into the city from there, from my building every morning.
They might have a ferry.
Don't be surprised if they do. I heard them talking about the ferry service yesterday on the news. Yes, I did.
I mean, even with that, $3,000 is just it's ludicrous
For us, but for somebody who's making $10,000,
No, I don't care if I make $1 million. $3,000 is ludicrous.
It's just to rent something.
For
Maybe if
someone
I'm
to
gonna
live
own it.
I don't know. It's just because we don't make that amount of money, so it's like crazy.
Okay.
It's like buying a $1,000 watch. You won't do it because it's hard for us to even think about that. My father had this argument with me because I was like whatever teenager, and he's like he said like $500 for a watch or something, and I was like, that's crazy. I would never pay that, and that's what he told me. He's like, because that's a lot of money for you, but for somebody who's making $1 million or 100, making 6 figures, a $3,000 rent is like
you know what? A $500 watch is still bullshit to me because it does not cost $500 to make.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm also thinking about the other person who can afford it.
No,
and
that's the type of mentality that's perpetuated. This garbage.
Yeah.
It's just that you have a building that's not going to cost you fucking $3,000 a month for an apartment. It's not going to cost you as an owner to. And I'm not saying do it for like a skim margin, profit margin. I'm saying you can still make a healthy margin, but $3,000 is ridiculous.
I don't want to say the exact amount because I heard a quote and I don't remember exactly. I think it was the guy bought the land for $58 million.
Mm-hmm.
Which is waterfront, but that's not
waterfront, and that's not really a lot. That's not a lot. So the money he's gonna make,
it's gonna be ridiculous.
That was probably his business plan, obviously, to get this money.
So let's wait until we have a restaurant that's also paying rent for $10,000 per square foot. Let's wait till we have a freaking once retail moves in, they're gonna make their money like that.
Well, that's another problem with gentrification.
Once a Starbucks and a Chipotle comes into the neighborhood, then you gotta watch out.
But the thing is that they really have to start scaling these type of things because I think it would only be fair to scale depending on what the income is for people in the area. And I know not every place is going to be $200. Nobody cares. Nobody expects a $200 rent. Nobody expects a super cheap rent. But what I mean is that businesses can have high rents because they make profit off of where they are. The space that they're taking up, the space that they're inhabiting, is making the money.
Yeah.
So they can afford to pay those types of rents. And naturally so, they should pay more than someone who's paying to stay alive in a box in the sky in a building surrounded by bricks. That's how simple it is. That's how simple it is. You're in a fucking box surrounded by bricks.
Yeah.
Trying to stay alive.
No, but that's your mentality. Somebody who can afford that, they're not trying to stay alive. They have money. They're good. They're not sure that's us.
I think rents in New York are just ridiculous because you got places like Toys R Us who are multi-million-dollar corporations who are having to move at a certain place
Yeah, they're shutting down
42nd
42nd,
Street
yeah.
because
The
they
rent
can't
is
afford
high,
the
yeah.
rent. So now even corporations,
Yeah.
that's how ridiculous.
It's like the bubbles
rent-
getting, we're doing what we did with the recession. The bubble's getting bigger, bigger, but it's gonna pop again. It's like we didn't learn.
Whoa, the stock market is like crashing right now. Nobody's paying attention to that
That's
right
gonna
now.
be
but that's
another episode.
That is yet another story.